How are you doing? I find myself needing to share something, and I truly value your perspective. I was deeply involved in a relationship that lasted for over 2 years, but it has recently come to an end. Feel compelled to tell you why. It all began back in the whirlwind of our senior year of high school. He approached me asking to be his girlfriend, but at that time, the idea didn't particularly excite me. However, as time passed, a connection grew between us. It was a gradual, almost imperceptible shift, but eventually I fell for him. We navigated both the euphoric highs and the heartbreaking lows of life together, and those moments, both joyous and sorrowful, are memories I wouldn't trade for anything. During that period, I noticed his lack of focus on the upcoming entrance exams that were so crucial to our futures, so I gently nudged him to take them more seriously. He thankfully agreed, and we embarked on a journey of shared study sessions, hoping to conquer these academic mountains together. But when the results were finally released, I was elated to discover that I had passed, but a dark cloud hung over him. As he did not, a deep sadness washed over me, so profound that I couldn't even bring myself to celebrate my success, choosing to mute my own joy to avoid further upsetting him. Life then took an unexpected turn. He moved to another city, seemingly by chance, and I, incredibly, received an acceptance letter to a university in that very city. It felt like a sign, a serendipitous occurrence that brought us back together once more. We were both overjoyed, and we reveled in the shared time we had together. He was now juggling studies and work while navigating the complexities of his family. It was around this time that he expressed a need to rent a place, a home, to create stability in the midst of chaos. My heart ached for him, so I poured every ounce of myself into supporting him, offering financial help wherever I could, sharing ideas and advice, and even parting with personal possessions in an effort to make his situation easier. After he finally settled into his rented home, the once hopeful atmosphere started to dim, and our relationship took a darker turn. The financial strain was too much for him, and he could not cover his own living expenses. My heart once again went out to him, and I helped him with the little pocket money my family would provide for my own expenses. I even went to the extent of taking out a loan from a dear friend in order to make sure his needs were being met. I decided to shoulder my financial worries alone, believing that my silence would somehow alleviate his stress. Sometimes I would spend my own money to buy a whole month's worth of groceries for him, an act of generosity that would inevitably leave me with nothing. It was during this difficult period, when he was most vulnerable, that he began to change in ways that started to feel like the very foundation of our relationship was eroding. He would grow deaf to my voice when I tried to talk to him. He would compare himself to me in ways that always cast him in a negative light, and he began to lash out, saying things that cut me deep. I felt as if my world was closing in around me, suffocating me. I wasn't even free to have casual conversations with my classmates on the phone, as the moment he would call and find me engaged, he would explode with anger and accusations. I found myself desperately pleading with him to stop, but my cries seemed to fall on deaf ears. And to further wound me, he even tried to minimize my achievements, saying things like, "Don't make a big deal out of getting into this university." His comments felt like small but deliberate pinpricks designed to hurt me. I tried desperately to make things work, exhausting every ounce of my patience and my ability to put up with it. Despite my exhaustion, I clung to the belief that somehow we could get back to how we were. I held to the principle of saving physical intimacy for marriage, a belief we shared because our religion clearly prohibits premarital relations. I poured my heart and soul into this relationship, but no matter what I did, he simply refused to change. Finally, overwhelmed with pain, exhaustion, and a profound sense of loss, I said, "Let's break up," and he simply responded with an emotionless, "Okay." That simple, cold response cut me deeper than any harsh word could have. It was a devastating culmination of everything that had come before. A week later, he contacted me, attempting to act as if everything was normal, but I was no longer the same person, and I didn't respond with the same warmth I once had, so he flew into a rage. Only after realizing that my decision was final did he resort to using my friend's loan as emotional blackmail, saying, "If you don't stay with me, I won't pay back your friend's loan." It was a low blow, an act of malice that confirmed everything I had begun to suspect about him. Yet, despite the emotional manipulation, I held firm to my decision, knowing that going back would only prolong my suffering. So now, I'm left to shoulder the burden of paying off his 30,000 bear loan, a significant amount of money I have never benefited from. This entire experience has etched a new understanding of the world onto my heart, that not everything we see is as it seems, and that doing good doesn't always lead to good outcomes. And, above all else, I have learned the crucial lesson that prioritizing my own well-being needs to be my top priority, a principle I will carry with me into the future. I find myself overflowing with gratitude for everything that I have, because perhaps these hardships have arrived in my life at the right time to teach me what I most needed to learn. I would be forever grateful if you could share your advice for my future, and what I may have overlooked, and what I could have done differently to prevent this experience from repeating in the future. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.